Thank you everyone for being here. We are so grateful. My name is Dr. Kierston Sooup, and I'm the Senior Director of Community Dialogue and Adult Programs at the Milwaukee Art Museum. Most importantly, I'm such a big fan of 5 Points Gallery and Studios, and it's my pleasure to facilitate the artist talk for tonight's exhibition, We Black in Every Timeline, a show that culminates the 7th year of 5 Points Gallery and Studio. And on this note, I'll mention that this time next week is the 7th anniversary dinner for the gallery. All the proceeds go to support the Save the Gallery initiative, and I encourage you to buy a ticket if you haven't already. And also, if you've never been to one of the dinners here, Fatima really knows how to throw a party. So really, it's gonna be good times, good music, and really great food. And my screen has locked up. So again, I'm really excited to facilitate this conversation with the 3 of the 4 artists. Our 4th artist is on his way, who are part of this show. So first, Miss Kierston. Oh, start recording. Yes, Kierston.
Recording in progress.
So first, Miss Kierston Ghaznavi, who's joining us from India. Hey, Kierston. Manny Vibez. Say that again, Kierston. Good morning. What time is it over there? 6:30 a.m. My dear, thank you so much for being here. Manny Vibez. And Warren Harrington, who's making his 5 Points debut. But as I was saying, his work feels like it's been part of the 5 Points family for a long time. Thank you so much. Our conversation is gonna last for maybe 40 minutes, and there's also gonna be an opportunity for Q&A, so please. Feel free to start thinking about your questions. All right, first of all, I just wanna give us an opportunity to applaud the artist, because being an artist is a hard, vulnerable, courageous thing, and thank you all for sharing your work with us. So give them a loud round of applause before we start. And I'm gonna launch into questions. Can you hear me, Kierston? You good?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, great. So tonight's show stands on the fact that Black folks have, do, and will continue to exist. Past, present, and future are referenced, converge, split, and all at the same time, Blackness remains. So as a way of introducing yourselves and your work to those of us in the room, can each of you share a little bit about how Blackness, time, and especially the idea of Black futures inspired the work that you have in the show?
Okay. That's a good question that needs a lot of thought. I would say how it inspires me is just all the experiences I've had as a Black man making it through life. Not everyone can share the same experience. And it has guided me on different journeys, it's put me in different settings with different people, and it's also made me a bit guarded as a human because of what we have to go through. So I would say everything is just a culmination of everything adding up and adding to the Black experience. And I try to fuel that and with my pen and my artistic abilities. And, yeah.
Thank you, Warren, for sharing about how all of it culminates in sort of your experience of being a Black man. And just to highlight, your works are those 2 that frame the door and those 2 over here, right?
Yes.
Thank you. Manny, do you want to take the question next? How Blackness, time, and the idea of Black futures has inspired your work that you have in this show?
So yeah, I think a lot of times when we think about Blackness, we think about like victimization and things like that. And I'm just trying to tell a different story. Like, I want to tell the story of a hero, You know what I mean? Like, which could still be victimized or whatever, but you get tired of the same old, same old. It's like, where is our, like, you know, just goofy moments, or where are just like heroes that are not just like riddled with strife, you know, like can we enjoy, you know, just being still and having like being in a coffee shop without being policed and things of that nature. So I'm just like, that's my whole thing. Like, yes, the struggle, you know, has been like part of a great story, right? Like overcoming shit, you know what I mean? But like going toward the future with like have overcame is where my story is starting to begin. So,
Starting at a place where we overcame.
yeah.
Thank you. Kierston, how does Black identity, time, and the idea of Black futures feature in your work? Hello.
For this show, so some of the work that I did comes from a previous show where I am thinking about kind of the dream space and the space between.
I have to like communicate out. Is it really hard for y'all to hear? So some of the work that you produced came from another exhibition where you're thinking about the dream space.
Yes. So, and I think it ties in with the theme for this show where I was thinking a lot about how just the current culture kind of makes it feel like people of color, Black people especially, are just kind of being pushed out. You see like sci-fi, things like that, where there's a future that some people want where we're not a part of.
Hold on a second. So right now the current culture feels like Black folks are getting pushed out, and if you look at sci-fi, you see that there are worlds where Black folks are not in it.
Yeah. So I wanted to kind of look at just kind of this otherworldliness where you can kind of look and see that we're always there. We've been here and we're always going to be here. And we are not just, you know, here to carry the burden, be the mules of this world, but also we're a part of the future and we're a part of the innovation. So
Oh, go ahead. Can I say, Kristen?
yes.
So thinking about a world where we Black folks are not just mules and there to carry the burdens of people, but we are and show that we have been here, we are always here, and will always be here.
Tilt her down a little.
Oh, I need to tilt you down a little. Okay. Is that good?
Yes.
All right. Thank you. DJ Turtle Sooup. Hi. Jared Davis, thank you so much for joining us. This is our first question.
Okay.
And to kick it off, as a way of introducing yourself and your art to those of us in the room, can you share a little bit about how Blackness, time, and the idea of Black futures inspired the work that you have in this show?
One more time.
Can you talk about how the idea of Blackness, time, and Black futures inspired the work that you have in the show?
So I like try to say what I made.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's no wrong way to answer this.
Okay. So I decided to create.
Oh no, that was for DJ Turtle Sooup, also known as Jared Davis. You want me to call you?
You can just call me Turtle.
Turtle.
Mhm.
Okay.
Turtle Soup.
Turtle Sooup.
Soup. All of the above.
Okay. Thank you.
But I made my work is basically I took like Black TV tropes and I turned them into superheroes. I don't know. I feel like in Black television they always kind of paint Black characters as like not tight. I don't know. So I like made those stereotypical characters tight. I turned them into heroes. So I did the magical Negro trope, I did the strong black woman trope, and then I did the brute trope.
Sorry, we're working through a tech difficulty, but
Good.
yeah, but you did the strong black woman trope, the black brute trope, and then what was the last trope?
Magical Negro.
The magical Negro trope, and that is your work.
Yeah, in the middle there.
In the middle on this pedestal, 3D printed?
Yeah, I 3D printed. I 3D modeled and then 3D printed each of the figures.
All right, we got a Bluetooth speaker. All right, so Kierston, you've got a couple of pieces here, and I have to say that I was first introduced to your work here at 5 Points Gallery, and first introduced to your work by the giant sort of wooden movable dolls that you create. And so for me as a viewer, it's really interesting to see different aspects of your work. And so I'm wondering, can you talk about what it means for 5 Points Gallery and Studio to be a home base for you as an artist, and for a place where you feel safe to evolve and test out new ideas?
Definitely. It is where I had my first solo show. So that was in 2020, just days before the shutdown. So we had a couple of good days, and then the show had to go fully virtual. But it was really great to take the idea that I have for the smaller paper dolls and continue to evolve them and bring them into a larger scale. It's been really great working at 5 Points because I really love just being able to work alongside different artists. Manny and I shared a studio space for a few years, and it was really good to just, it kind of took me back to college where you're working alongside someone and you can just kind of look over and say, hey, what do you think about this? Or what do you think about this color? How do you think this idea will work? And just being able to collaborate in that way. And sometimes you just have to talk through an idea from the beginning and just make sure it makes sense. So having different artists with different mediums that they work in, being able to kind of help you think those things out and maybe challenge you, it's been really great, especially in the 5 Point space. I think it helps to foster that kind of work environment, which I feel like I thrive in, just working in community with other artists. So it's been really good.
So Manny, thank you for talking about how you being in community with Manny and you guys sharing a studio for so many years has also helped you to evolve your work. Manny, I know your work from the wearable art that's currently for sale here too, so this is my first time seeing your work on canvas. I also feel like I know you as a parent, right? And people who have had our kiddos here in this space. So I'm wondering how has being a parent sort of influenced the work that you have here, if at all?
Okay, so all of my work is about my son. And it's just about him going on adventures through, it's him going on adventures, protecting a garden, because his name is Eden, right? He has these different companions that he picks up on the way. He gets into sticky situations. Sometimes he gets into playful situations. You know, it's all about making him an iconic figure. I feel like that's important because he's the greatest thing I've created ever, and I just want to keep that legacy going for him, just so he knows that his father admires him.
So that's Eden with the crown, and Eden and all of the different.
That's all Eden.
And Eden holding that bouquet too.
That's all him.
That's pretty great. Thank you. So, Turtle, you talked about the 3 tropes that have inspired your piece here. And my experience seeing your work is that it often combines nostalgia and representation. What draws you to these characters and these worlds of heroes?
fan of like superhero stuff, so I thought it'd be interesting to make these tropes into heroes and trying to think of what their powers would be and like all that other stuff from all these very stereotypical, characters. Like the magical Negro, like I named him Glycine, like because his power comes from his hair, so like his hair kind of works like how the Green Lantern ring does. When he takes his hat off, he could like turn into whatever.
Thank you. Warren, so actually there's like a conversation between Jared's work and your work that I find really interesting in terms of representation, but for you in particular, the ways in which maybe Japanese culture and anime figure in your work. And I'm wondering if you could talk a little bit about what does it mean for you to pair Japanese culture and these sort of shrines that you have created, and also how have you seen Japanese anime as maybe an opportunity to sort of both explore a culture that is different from you and also find blackness in that space?
Well, I can tell you what got me into it. I'm not the biggest anime watcher, but I do appreciate it. But a few years ago, my tattoo artist, he had a Japanese folklore book that he let me borrow, and I saw all these different entities, these different spirits in there, and it inspired me to incorporate that with my art. And just inherently, being black, I do black art just for that reason. And it was more so kind of a happy accident how everything paired together, because I don't really plan out what I'm going to do. It just kind of happens in the spawn of the moment. So the first iteration of me comparing or adding these things together is on that piece back there on the top right, you'll see a drawing. It's the third from the top, and that was the first time I combined the two entities, and I just liked it, and then I went from there. Yeah.
So you started talking about your process. Do you have a studio? Are you a person who's like, I'm gonna go into the studio for like 2 hours and I'm gonna draw and I'm just gonna sort of explore and see what happens? I'm gonna ask all of you about your process after this too. Go ahead.
My process, well, it depends on the piece. For most of my pieces, I make custom frames, so I'll build that in my head first, and then get all the materials and put it together. As far as drawing, I can sort of picture what I want to do, but everything happens in the moment. So I'll draw a face, and then I look at the rest of the page and see what can fit in a different spot, and then go from there, and then base that upon everything else that's already drawn. So for that piece in particular, I drew the lady in the middle, and then I knew she was going to have the wooden dowel and the rope coming from her, but I needed to figure out a way to incorporate the red fella. His name is Tengu. He's a Japanese spirit, and so I just had her holding a piece of wood to prop him up in position. But yeah, my process is all in the moment.
Your process is all in the moment. Manny, what's your process like?
I get inspired by also a lot of Japanese culture, a lot of black culture, a lot of African. Like I'm a collector of toys and things of that nature. I try to collect African relics, things of that. So I get inspired by just, of course, my son, but like, just like things. And my brain is always like trying to come up with a story for everything. It's like my brain wants to create all the time, and it's kind of sick in a bad way and in a good way, because it's like I can't stop thinking about making shit. And when I don't make things, it kind of it makes me sick.
Something that you're saying, Manny, makes me think about how I feel like as artists, you move through the world always seeing opportunity and potential, and like everything is data that gets like plugged in, and you don't know when it's going to be used, but it's just there.
Yeah.
Sometimes that data is like physical stuff that you're collecting too.
Yeah. I'm also like just always taking pictures of like shit. It's like it'd be like one single flower growing out of the ground. I'm like, this is fire. Like, what is this about? Like, what's this story? What's that? You know what I mean? Like, somebody could be living in that flower. Somebody could. Then I build stories just based off of. I think I'm just crazy a little bit.
We're gonna come back to that. Turtle, what's your process?
I guess it's similar to theirs too, where I'm just like always looking at stuff and it just gets in there. But for this particular project, I was looking at like a bunch of like African masks. I was looking at weird African like hairstyles, like styles of clothing, all that stuff. And I kind of like just pushed them together. The parts that I liked, some of the parts that I didn't like, I added to. So yeah. So just like everybody else said, just in the moment. Because when I was sculpting it, I literally had I did no pre-sketch or anything. I just went into my program and just started sculpting, and they all just kind of came out.
Kierston, is that a similar process to you too? Is it sort of you go in and you don't know what the outcome is going to be and it's a little bit spontaneous, or do you have an idea of what you're going to do when you go in the studio?
I usually do a lot of thinking first. I think about the idea, like an idea will come to me, and then I have to kind of visualize it to understand if it's going to work, especially for one of the dolls. I'll kind of think of a concept and think of the shapes. Like, for example, the one, Keep the Haints Off Me. I thought about those shapes for the head and the legs, and I sketched it out in a notebook, my favorite filthy notebook that I've had forever. And with the wooden dolls, I'll usually cut the shapes before I paint. So I have to visualize whether or not that pose is going to work and how it's going to work before I even know what I'm going to put on the actual surface. So it's a lot of kind of maybe not wasting time, but a lot of like mulling over something and like overthinking it in my head. And then once it feels like, okay, I know what I'm going to do, then I just kind of go for it. And then it's kind of, it gets to be more spontaneous when I start to actually bring it to life.
Wonderful, thank you. Manny, you had mentioned you have to do it, otherwise you're gonna go crazy. And I actually had an elder say that too, like you have to create, for me, she was talking about dance, to keep from going crazy, right? That's sort of part of the impetus of being an artist. And Octavia Butler, who maybe is like one of the greatest Black nerds and artists that we've had of our time, science fiction writer, once said that she had a professor who told her, if anything is gonna keep you from writing, don't be a writer. And so I'm wondering, what do you all do when you get stuck or when things become so hard that you're tempted to not make?
So there's periods of time where I kind of don't make, but I feel like that's just me collecting data though. Like, cause I play games and I'm fascinated with the art style of games and shit like that. So like, there's a game that I've been playing that the art style is so fucking crazy, and it's so like indie and small. It's called Hollow Knight or Silk Song. It's about bugs or whatever. They like fight. You're like a whatever. I don't want to get into what the game about, but that art style for that game is like so simplistic, but like the world that they build is insane. Like, and it's just these bugs, and they're like in the ground or they're in this cave or wherever they at, but they're existing. They got this whole life that they're living or whatever, and you're like playing as the main one or whatever. So it's just, I don't know, like I take time to like try to experience other people's art so I can also get inspired by things.
So if folks have questions, start to bring it to your mind while the other artists are responding to this one. Warren, do you want to go next? What do you do if you ever get stuck?
Fortunately now I haven't gotten stuck in a while. Previously I've had a few different hiatuses that I've taken from art, but now I feel like I've kind of gotten into my bag. I found my artistic style, so I have a healthy relationship with art. So I don't have to do it all the time, but I'll take that back. I do need to do it all the time, but I know when I need to take a break from it. So fortunately, I haven't had too many blockages of recent.
Thank you. Kierston, what do you do if you get stuck?
Yeah, it happens a lot. I think I may have periods where I'm just dealing with just grief or frustration with things that are going on in the world, and I don't feel motivated to create or draw. And what I usually do is kind of just bounce around to different mediums, like maybe I'll crochet or I'll do like digital sketches just to get myself to want to create again. So if you see me posting a bunch of digital sketches, it's probably because I'm trying to get inspired, or I've hit a wall and I don't know what I really want to do or what I want to make, but I don't want to stop that muscle. I don't want to stop drawing or trying to make something. So I'll start making like pins, or I'll start trying to crochet, do embroidery, go to concerts, listen to music, or I like to be around other types of art too that is maybe not necessarily my medium. So it'll help me kind of, maybe it'll spark something. And yeah, I try to not stay stuck because I don't want to lose the motivation completely to create. So I'll try to just move that energy around so that I can get inspired again.
Thank you, Kierston. Turtle.
How I get stuck or
Yeah, what do you do if you get stuck?
or if I get stuck. I DJ, really. And like, I don't know, reels it back. Like, I guess it's just my other creative outlet. So when one's not quite clicking, I know I can always DJ, and it's always gonna like work out, because I don't know, when I go out and I DJ and stuff, it's an immediate like feedback, like, oh, that was cool, whatever, or that song is interesting, or like, you know what I'm saying? Then I roller skate outside of all that stuff, and I think having like a physical activity that's not necessarily me actually making something, but me actually doing something helps too.
That reminds me of Chris. I feel like what I've gotten from you all is like getting in your body. So the roller skating, or Kierston, you were talking about the crocheting, which to me feels like being in your body too. But also, if you're not making, you're observing and you're collecting data, right? Or you're engaging with other mediums. And so the idea that if you're not producing something, that doesn't mean that you're stuck. It just means that you're stepping back from your practice a little bit and pivoting and getting new ideas. Anyone in the audience have a question? Yes, Ms. Rhonda.
This is for, Warren. Warren, I noticed that you, a lot of your pieces that you have, they're whimsical.
Yeah.
And they're fun. And the borders, now are those your individual designs yourself?
Yeah, they are.
You design each and every one of them.
Yeah.
What made you come up with those different caricatures? What evoked you to have those different, so I see the Elvira on here, I know her from when I was a kid. I think this one looks like a lot like Wednesday from the Addams Family, you know, just things that I resonate with when I was a child. And so what invokes you to do whimsy?
I would say my style is more rooted in whimsical, but there is a darker aspect to it. So I like to tackle two different themes. I want it to look as friendly as possible, but if you look deep enough, you'll see that there's certain things that are a bit off or a bit not too whimsical.
Feels like whims and noir. I don't know if that's a term, but yeah, it definitely feels that way.
It's a term now.
Yeah.
I'm here for it.
Thank you, Ms. Rhonda. Any other questions from the audience? Yes, sir.
Yeah, I got a question for Warren. First of all, your paintings is amazing, sure.
Thank
There's a lot of pain behind your art
you.
at all.
A good amount of it. Definitely pain provides a perspective for me. In most of the pieces you see, in this one, you see the lady putting the finger gun underneath her chin. So,
I ain't even noticed that.
yeah, there's definitely a lot of pain behind a lot of them, but there's also the silver lining in there if you look for it.
So you mentioned at the top that a lot of your work is inspired by your experience being a black man, and I'm wondering, I just feel like sometimes masculinity, particularly black masculinity, means that you can't always feel comfortable sharing what's happening inside with the rest of the world. Do you feel like there are things that your artwork says that you don't say verbally?
At times, I would probably say so. For this piece in particular, this is a print, but there's an actual drawing of it. I wasn't in the best place at the time, and I would say I didn't really want to be here at that point in time. But I knew if I stuck around, greater things would happen. So I'd say the bottom half, where she's doing this, is a reflection of how I felt, and then coming up out of that are two black flowers, and I feel like that's kind of where I'm going, where I want it to be. So, yes, to your question.
Thank you. Yes. Did you have a question?
I know that Warren and Kierston's work are very female focused. Manny, I noticed that you had a auction piece, like the Jewel and Gallery, and even you had a piece based off the black female trope. I was wondering what did women, or black women specifically, like meant for all of you in your work?
Yes.
No, I gotta think on that one.
Well,
December.
for me, that used to be like a lot of my older work used to be centered around black women. Bejeweled and Battle Ready is like a ode to my mom, who is the most gangster woman I know. You know, like she is the epitome of like beauty and like also battle tested. You feel me? Like she would beat your ass, but she would also do it with grace. You know what I mean? So, and that's what like, so that like, and I grew up like, you know, whatever, Black American Dad story or whatever. I grew up without, you know, pops, and my mother was like top dog, and you know, she ran the yard type shit, and that was just, I seen her do I seen her be like soft and gentle, and then I seen her like be a fucking, you know, like I would rip your head off about my kids. So that's what that's about, you know, like, so they were a main focus of my art a lot, like when I used to make the art I used to make, but now, you know, I was like, I gotta tell these little stories about you. But I'm still dabbling, you know, I'm still dabbling in that because I still believe like the black woman is like, you know, the ultimate figure of like just poise and fucking strength and, you know, like, so.
Let's see. So I don't really usually make female characters usually, because they're always like difficult for me to make when I like draw them out. But for whatever reason, they've been easier since I've started 3D modeling to make them. So I've been trying to push myself to do that more often. But with my strong black woman character, I don't know, I just wanted to showcase that archetype for real, you know? So I think it's really important trope, even though it's kind of like always like this stern kind of character. I didn't make if I wanted to write a bio about it so y'all could like really grasp each character, but my character isn't like that. He's like super, you know what I mean?
Kierston, you want to talk about how black women figure in your work?
Yes. It's black women are the main subject, the main audience of my work. It's really important for me to show representation, especially with body image and not just kind of external, the physical of a body, but also emotional, mental ideas. My previous show, where the dial that's in this show is from 3:33 a.m. It was about kind of balancing between subconscious and reality and dealing with the things that cause overthinking, anxiety, and dealing with grief and dealing with depression, and how as a woman you have to balance, you know, those things that you're dealing with and how you present and face yourself in the world. So those things are really important to me. I like to showcase, you know, the duality of black women and the way that there may be a lot of strength that we display externally, but there may be a lot of turmoil or things that we balance and work through and maybe do it all on our own without a lot of external support. So there's this beauty and this calm that we see on the outside that may be holding back a lot and being strong and showing up despite all of that. So I think a lot of my work deals with that.
There's a parallel between your work and Warren's work then. If Warren's work is rooted in your experience as a black man, and I feel like you've offered us some of that interior, Kierston, I feel like your work does that through your experience as a black woman too, and offering us the interior against like the trope of being cool, calm, collected, and strong. Warren, did you want to close out that question? How do black women feature in your work?
I would say that's most of my experience most of my experience is coming from a black woman being raised by a single mother. So inherently it's just rooted because that's my foundation. And I tend to have female subjects in my art, mostly, or not mostly, but I do think it provides a softness for, especially if I'm going to tackle a darker theme, I would like to balance that off with a face that isn't that harsh, or maybe a face with softer features. I feel that it's important to show my roots and my experiences with featuring mostly black women, because they aren't rooted for enough. So like to put them at the forefront, even if they're not depicted in the best way or in the most favorable light in these pieces. It's still an experience. Yeah.
So, final question. What do you want people to take away from the show? I'm going to start with you, Kierston, and then we're going to end with you, Manny. Kierston, what do you want people to get out of the exhibition?
I hope it shows, I think, this notion that although there's so much that is happening that makes it feel like we're not wanted in this country, or we're not important, we're not part of the foundation of this country, that we have been here, we are here, and we will be here in the future. And we'll continue to be a huge part of the culture, a part of the music, the cinema, the art, and just the heart of America.
Thank you, Kierston. Turtle?
I wanted to showcase the resilience of Blackness through my work, that it can be, even in negative light, it can be something cool.
Resilience. Warren?
I would like for you to take away just a new experience, being able to soak in each one of these artists' fantastic work.
Thank you.
Manny?
I'm just, like, Blackness is more than just strife and, you know, like sad stories. Like, Blackness is like passion and beauty and joy, you know what I mean? Like, and it's not just what we've been set up to believe what Blackness is. It's not just these, I'm not trying to say nothing against Turtle, because Turtle work is fire. But it's not just these tropes either, you know? Like, Blackness is everything. And I appreciate Turtle for, like, putting a new twist on these fucking tropes, you know what I mean? Like, especially, we've all seen, like, movies with, like, I mean, The Legend of Bagger Vance with the magical Negro and that, you know what I mean? Like, fire-ass movie, but, like, still, it's like, bro, it's more to black people than just the help, the slave, you know what I mean? Like, you know, like raising other people's kids and not having fathers and on whatever the fuck, like, there's so much more. We're such a complex, autonomous being that we can, like, black people are, they're like, they're everything, you know what I mean? Like, nothing against no one else's race, all right? Like, I would never downplay that, but, like, black people don't get enough respect, or, like, they don't get enough, like, things they deserve because they've been working their ass off, you know what I mean? Like, we work our ass off in other ways that other people don't.
And shape the culture.
And shape the 6, 7, all that shit comes from.
Oh, don't get me started.
All that shit comes from, like, all this language that these young kids are using is all black shit. It's all black shit, and it's fucking crazy to me. It's crazy. It's all AAVE, right? Am I saying that right? Yes. It's all that, and I'm just like, what the, like, y'all don't see this, like, you feel me? Don't go Christmas shopping either, black people. No Christmas shopping this year. I'm not doing that shit. All right, I'm done talking. I'll be ranting if
I really appreciate the ways in which all of you help to nuance blackness, both past, present, and future, and imagine blackness beyond trauma and just survival, and really the opportunity to witness our humanity. And I think also that's the work of 5 Points Gallery and Studios. And another reason why, if you haven't already, please continue to support the gallery Next Friday is the 7th anniversary dinner. We'd love to see you here. And thank you again for being here. And thank you all for being here and bearing with our tech difficulties. I appreciate you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Have a great night. Congrats, artists. Bye, Mama. I hope you get some sleep or have a great day. Thank you.
All right, dog. Appreciate you guys.